Well, hi and welcome back to a boat called Wanda. So it's been a good probably 6 to 8 weeks of every weekend I had working away on that fence of mine, and I'm really pleased to say that I finished that now, and I think I probably ended up putting in maybe 45 metres of fencing all the way around my property. So that's done. I can move on. I do want to come back to one comment that was made earlier about hoping that my dog's not a tunneler, and I actually have had a Labrador cross before many moons ago, and yeah, she did actually tunnel under the fence to get to my neighbour's property because she could hear my neighbours. So yeah, let's see what happens with Ruby. I did lay some concrete mowing strips all the way along the perimeter of the fence to hopefully give some resistance in case she tries to dig under there, but yeah, let's see. But anyway, that's enough about dogs. We're here for boats, and it's a warm sunny day. Temperatures are getting higher again. We're well and truly into spring, so I'm really delighted to be back here working on Wanda. So first things first, you might remember that the last time I was out here on Wanda, I ended up with a bit of a cliffhanger because I'd put the cockpit floor down and I'd used this neoprene seal that I made up, and I was hoping that that was going to be watertight so that I wouldn't have to use butyl tape, because the butyl tape can be quite hard to remove if you want to take something off and on a few times. So first things first, I'm going to just clamp up the bottom because I've got some hoses coming down to the seacocks. Going to put some clamps around those, and then I'm going to be able to fill this up with water and see if it's watertight. So let's get going. Right, I've connected everything up. I've got the scuppers there with a 38mm hose that goes down to my 32mm hose, and then I've got my seacocks down there bedded in, and I've got 2 Jubilee clips on each of them at the bottom. I really like the comment I got last update by Mike about using 2 Jubilee clips beneath the waterline, and if it's above the waterline then one's enough. And yeah, I really like that rule. I've made it my rule of thumb, so that's what I'm going to be doing all throughout the boat. 2 below the waterline, 1 above. Okay, so now I can get a bucket of water, fill it up, and empty it into the cockpit here, and go underneath and see that it's watertight. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but there's definitely water dripping there. I'll just tighten that up in a minute to see if I can make that stop. Yeah, I've got water dripping in that corner. I've also got some coming under here. Maybe I just need to tighten those screws over there, so let me just tighten it up a bit and see what happens. That is not cool. I don't know if you can see that. There's a really bad drip coming down there as well. At least it's going down through the scuppers okay. But yeah, the more I look, the more drips I see coming down. Yeah, so that's definitely not working. I've tightened up the screws as much as I dare, and there's still drips coming all the way around. So clearly that neoprene rubber is it's good, but it's just not compressive enough to be able to take on the profile of that underfloor of the cockpit floor, which is really quite rough. It's fairly rough laminate. So doesn't matter. Lessons learned. It was an experiment and it didn't work. So I'm going to undo it all and yeah, take it up and replace it with butyl tape. Now I can go back and fix up all of these drains that I made before using temporary water pipe. So it connects to the scupper up there, goes down under here, and meets down there, and then goes through that cabinet into the aft cabin and up to there. Yeah, it's a little bit crowded in there in those cupboards, and it's hard to get lighting in there, so kind of difficult to shoot video. So I'm just going to put the camera down for a while and go through it, and yeah, I'll come back and show you what I've done once I've finished. Well everyone, I think you can pack up your bags and go home now, because we've got some major problems, because that is not going to go over that. And I remember now, because this is 32mm pipe, 1 1/4 inch, and this is 30mm. And this is by a company called Osculati, and I'm just so annoyed at them because they make great looking stuff, but everything is just this kooky 30mm. And it's not like in Italy, which is where the company is, everything's 30mm and the rest of Europe is 32. because when you search for 30mm water hose or water pipe, there's nothing there. Everything's 32mm or 38mm, 1¼ inch, 1½ inch. So I'd forgotten, because obviously I put these in years and years ago. So damn, such a waste of time. And now I'm going to have to source new ones which might have a different profile and everything. So it's just a complete balls up. Damn. Yeah, so that's really annoying, and I'm just going to have to find something else I can work on now. Otherwise I've just wasted all of my time, and yeah, I'm going to have to go and source new fittings. I think I spent about £100 on those 4 Osculati scuppers. Yeah, so not a great start. Anyway, let me find something else to do here so that I can keep doing something. So thanks to the person that made the comment in the last update about where to get butyl tape from, and I got some of this Arbo seal, which was recommended from a company called Tech, and yeah, there's a lot there. It's quite inexpensive, but the part that's kind of interesting is that it actually comes in little tubes, which is really great, because normally you buy butyl tape and it's flat, and you might want to turn the flat part into like a rounded part. So the fact that this is already rounded out is actually pretty neat, I think. So yeah, I'll give this a go and see what it's like. I think I might actually put 2 beads, one on the outside of the screw and one on the inside of the screw hole, and see how that works. Okay, so let me do this test again. See if I can get anything better than last time. Okay. Maybe a bit more. Oh, okay, dry. I've just set myself down for a few minutes and gave myself a good talking to, and I thought to myself, well, what would Rob do in this situation? And you might remember Rob was the guy that I used to work with on Wanda down when it was in Essex. He used to build boats for Hunter sailboats in the UK, and it's just got this great pragmatic approach to everything. So yeah, I thought, what would Rob do? And of course what Rob would do would make some sort of 32 to 30mm conversion gadget, and that's exactly what I've done here. Skillfully using a little bit of masking tape, I've made a 32 to 30mm adapter, and just like that, the problem's solved and I can move on to something else. Now, of course, I wouldn't for 1 minute advocate going offshore with something like that hanging together, but I think it'll be good enough just to get me into the water, and in the meantime I can try and source a new scupper, which is probably going to be a different profile, so I might need to get back up there with a router and route out a different size diameter for the scupper head. But yeah, I think this is fine just to get me going. I can get a Jubilee clip around it, and I've got that tensioned up nice and tightly. So yeah, and bear in mind this is all above the waterline. I wouldn't do something like this below the waterline, but for stuff that's just draining the deck down through the through holes, I think that'll be fine. So yeah, let's keep going. Okay, I think I'll show you now what I'm doing with these Grocco seacocks that I bought probably 2 or 3 years ago. I've put a couple in already, but yeah, I'll just go through the process that I've been following. So the first thing is they come, the larger ones, this is 1¼ inch, and I think from 1¼ inch upwards they come with a Zerg fitting, which is for using a grease gun so that you can lubricate them. And they also, Grocco provides their own, manufactures their own grease for through holes. So I've bought some of this and I'm waiting for a small grease gun to arrive, and then I can go ahead and service them all. So yeah, I just take this Zerg fitting off. And this is going to be for the bilge pump, and this is pretty much vertical on the shell, so I need a 90-degree elbow here to take it up to the top, and so I'm just going to put this on now. So the first thing is to put some thread seal tape on. So I put that on the elbow, put it about in the middle. The first couple I did, I had too much tape on. I think I ran around 3 or 4 times and then it just wasn't working. So I think I'll probably just go around twice and try and get it into the threads nicely. That's it. And then make sure I just can straighten this out so it doesn't create too much width, right? And then in it goes. You've got to wrap it around going with the thread so that when you tighten it up, you're not taking it out. Hand tight, I can get to about there, and then I need to go and sit it where it needs to go and get a wrench onto it to tighten this up further. Okay, so now I just need to put a little bit of sealant around this channel here, which they've created, and I'm using this Arbuckle 1000, which is a polysulfide sealant. So I'm not looking for any adhesive qualities here. I'm not trying to use an adhesive to really bond this into the shell. All the strength comes from the backing plate and the flange, so this just needs to be watertight rather than watertight plus adhesively bonded in. Okay, so we want to go that way. Crimp washer. Right, there it is. Closed, open, closed, open. Right, well that's it for my weekend, so let's take a look what I've got done here. So I've got all my through holes in, and this is just bedded in with some polysulfide, and I probably need to come back once it's dried a little bit more and just clean up some of the spill there. So anyway, that's the starboard side cockpit drain, starboard side deck scuppers all connected up, and we can see that that's draining some water at the moment because it's raining a little bit. That's the bilge pump, and I'm waiting on one more through hole to go there. Once I've got that, I can put that in. moving along the front here, I've then got the galley outlet for the drain. Moving forwards, that's a raw water intake for the heads. Around the other side, it's the drain outlet for the basin and the heads. That's the heads outlet. And then once again I've got the port side scupper drains. Got the port side cockpit drain. And this, which I can't actually do yet, this is the raw water intake for the engine, and what I've realized is this can't go in like this. I need to put some anti-fouling on this. Now, Rob did this all in copper coat, but he left an edge around all the through hole fittings because he didn't want them to be connected or electrically connected or bonded to any of the hardware. So what I need to do, I think I need to put some epoxy here as well as a barrier coat, and then some anti-fouling. Yeah, so that's going to delay this a little bit, and because it's raining today, it's quite damp and I can't really do anything about that. So in terms of being watertight beneath the waterline, things that I need to do, I'm not quite happy with this. I don't think that's going to be good enough, so I'm going to take that off and relaminate that. So that's one thing that needs to be done. Need to put the rudder back in. Second thing that needs to be done. Raw water intake, as I've just discussed. And then coming forwards, I've got the transducer here, which needs some copper coat, and I'm just going to put a blanking plug here. That was for the second transducer, and I can't do these because they're holding the ropes, and this is the best place to fix the ropes to hold all of the structure of the tent there. So I'm going to have to wait till I can take the tent down and then come back and finish this. And then of course I need a through hole there for my bilge pump, and then to connect up a bilge pump, and I need to connect up the exhaust outlet. So yeah, still 3 or 4 things to do before the beneath the water line is watertight.